You are watching Fox 5.
Good Day, New York, brought to you by Maxwell House Coffee, always good to the last drop, and by the Chase Manhattan Bank. Chase, profit from the experience.
Good morning, I'm Jim Ryan. Welcome to Good Day, New York. Our top stories: lightning struck at the U.S. Open golf tournament in Minnesota. 1 person was killed, 5 injured. In Los Angeles, a police helicopter crashed into a busy neighborhood. The 2 officers inside were killed. And as the police scuba diver who died in a routine training exercise was laid to rest, an investigation began into the cause of his death. And former Queens DA John Santucci gave out raises to key staffers as he went out the door. In sports, the Mets, Yanks, both lost. Now let's see what's ahead this morning, beginning with Julie Golden and a look at the weather.
Good morning. It's Friday, June 14th. It's Flag Day and a gorgeous day ahead. Mostly sunny and warmer with a high about 82. The full forecast is coming up, plus the beach and boating forecast. Good day, New York.
Dick Oliver in Flushing, the Queens public library system, the busiest in the nation, now facing deep, deep budget cuts. We'll have the story on Good Day, New York.
And Larry Hoff live from scenic Central Park, the right and wrong of rollerblading. We might even jump a car this morning. Good day, New York.
Morning once again, 58 degrees, going up to 82 today. Right now we've got brilliant sunshine, and it should stay that way all day long. We'll have complete weather and traffic in just a few minutes, but first, the top stories of the day with Lynn White. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Jim, and good morning, everyone. The death of police diver Kenneth Hansen is now the focus of a major investigation. Hansen drowned Tuesday while posing as a victim in a rescue training exercise. Fox News has learned some disturbing things about that case, as Penny Crone reports.
Police sources tell us many police safety procedures may have been broken. For example, Hansen was not wearing a flotation device required in all training exercises. While Chief Johnston says the department knew a German video crew was taping the everyday routine of the Harbor Patrol, it is investigating whether it was a legitimate training exercise. And Fox 5 has also learned a fire scuba team responded but was turned back, presumably because the Harbor Police said it needed no more help.
There are those that would say can't help from anybody under the circumstances, and yet they were sent away. Do you have any reason to believe there was a cover-up, that they didn't want them there because they weren't doing the right thing?
I don't know that yet.
And there's apparently more than one videotape of that tragedy. Sources say Hansen's brother, also a cop, was in a police helicopter overhead. He recorded the training exercise. Officer Hansen's wake was held yesterday in Brooklyn. Hundreds of mourners paid their respects, filing past the open casket. Hansen's mother reportedly screamed, "My son died for a movie," and collapsed. There are reports that Hansen chose not to wear a life jacket so the rescue would look more dramatic for the German television crew filming. Bolts of lightning struck the U.S. Open golf tournament in Minnesota, and tragedy followed. It all happened during yesterday's opening round. One 27-year-old man was killed. 5 others were injured. All 6 spectators were huddled under the same isolated willow tree when violent storms rolled in. The players already had to be taken off the links by bus, but 40,000 spectators were gathered along the course. Tournament officials say it was a miracle that more people did not get hurt. In South Los Angeles yesterday, a police helicopter crashed into a parking lot in a busy neighborhood. The 2 officers inside were killed. So was a man on the ground. Just before the crash, the pilot radioed he was having engine trouble. As the helicopter went down, it barely missed a daycare center filled with children. Figures released by the Census Bureau show that fixing the 1990 count would hurt the Northeast even more than original census would show. Population counts for New York and New Jersey, as well as some Midwest states, were lower than expected. Officials concede they overlooked 5 million people. A low count can cost seats in Congress and federal aid. But if the head count is modified, California, Texas, and Florida would get even more aid and political power than before. New York State would lose out. Yet it looks as though the city would gain from an adjustment. Mayor Dinkins talks a lot about making cuts in libraries, streetlights, and jobs. And Andrew Stein, the city council president, has been one of his most vocal critics. Now the mayor says one job he'd like to see eliminated is Andrew Stein's. Mr. Stein may very well run against the mayor in 2 years. His Honor says the borough president and city council can handle Mr. Stein's job. Sort of a troubleshooter for New Yorkers. Under charter revision, the city council president's job is to vote in case of a tie, but there's never been a tie. John Santucci retired as Queens DA on June 1st. According to the Daily News, he gave 18 top staffers something to remember him by, pay hikes of up to $15,000. 3 executive assistants pocketed $5,000 raises. Assistant DA Kenneth Holder got a $15,000 boost and a promotion. It all comes at a time when Mayor Dinkins has frozen the pay of 3,800 officials to help close the city's budget gap. More and more children are coming down with measles these days. It's reached epidemic levels in some areas. Now President Bush and Health Secretary Louis Sullivan are urging parents and health officials to make sure all youngsters get their measles shots. Ralphie.
Today I call on every parent, everywhere in America. Don't take a chance. The facilities are there. The vaccines are available. Call your local public health official or your own physician. Please make sure your child is immunized.
Mr. Bush says measles SWAT teams from the health department will be going around the country looking for ways to improve immunization programs. In sports, thanks to the Yanks, the Twins are still the best team in baseball. Last night in Minneapolis, Mel Hall tried but missed Kent Herbeck's double to the opposite field. That was good for an RBI, and the Twins took a 2-0 lead. Mike Witt left the game with a bad elbow, and Mel Hall had some trouble at bat, too. Luckily, nobody got hurt with that slippery swing. 2 homers by the Twins' Chili Davis and some excellent defense, like the play that tagged Alvaro Espinoza by a mile, helped Minnesota bury the Bombers 10-3. Tonight, the Yanks take on Texas. Yesterday at Shea, the Mets' Howard Johnson saved Magadan for a 2-0 lead in the first inning. In the second, Kevin McReynolds hustled and dodged, robbing goals, but Wally Whitehurst allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, including his 2-run home run by Sid Bream in the 4th inning. The Braves beat the to third place, and it's the last in the National League in hitting. Tonight, they host the Astros. And the U.S. golf tournament continues. Minnesota play did resume yesterday following the tragedy we told you about when lightning killed 1 man and injured several other spectators. Some 33 golfers will finish first-round play this morning. Payne Stewart and Noah Henke are tied for the lead at 5 under par. Finally, 2 years ago, a man in Philadelphia bought a painting at a flea market for $4. He didn't want the picture, just the nice frame. When he took the painting out, he saw something stuffed behind it. It turned out to be a rare copy of the Declaration of Independence. It sold at Sotheby's auction house yesterday for nearly $2.5 million. The winning bidder was an investor from Atlanta.
$2,298,000. I think it's a bargain, particularly what's going on in the world today. I think this is a living document. The words in this document are the words that knocked down the Berlin Wall, that freed Poland, and probably elected Boris Yeltsin yesterday in Russia.
The document is one of 200 copies of the Declaration printed on July 4th, 1776. 24 are known to exist. That'll do it from the news desk. Jim Ryan has more. Good day, Jim.
Am I going to tease you? No.
No.
No, we'll have to explain who Ralphie is.
Ralphie's our floor manager who gets me tissues in the morning. And he wasn't here.
All right, Lynn, thank you very much. Let's see what's happening on the roads this morning. Here's Candy Roth.
Well, it's busy already for a Friday. If you're going in at your Holland and Lincoln tunnels, you're up to a 20-minute delay. And at the George Washington Bridge so far, it is less than 5 minutes. And also, worst East River crossing this morning, the Manhattan Bridge. Avoid it. It's jammed already. The Brooklyn and Williamsburg bridges are heavy, but they're moving. Now, the BQE is a mess. We got to check it out with the Good Day Chopper.
Candy, it is a slow go on the southbound BQE all the way from Queens Boulevard into the Kosciuszko. You have that stall in the left lane. And the Good Day Chopper, I'm Dave Ullman.
All right, Dave. Thank you very much. Also, if you're traveling south on the Whitestone Expressway, volume crawling from the Whitestone Bridge out to Shea Stadium. An earlier accident there has been cleared. Alternate side of the street parking rules are in effect today. And I'm Candy Roth. That's your Good Day. Way to go. Traffic update. Jim?
She's just getting grief from her husband now.
Lynn's phone rang immediately after she left the news desk. Poor Liddy. Well, it's going to be a gorgeous day today, already up to 58 degrees, and sunshiny skies should stay that way all day. The humidity is at 62%, winds are out of the west-northwest at 5, and the barometer 30.11 and holding steady. On your satellite picture, nice clear skies for us, but look back to the west, back in Minnesota, where they had that tragic lightning strike yesterday. Well, they have more showers and thunderstorms there plaguing the U.S. Open today. High pressure in control of us. We should get a little bit warmer than yesterday, and the breeze should calm down a bit. Tomorrow we have a warm front coming through, so more heat and more humidity for us, but it looks like a good start to the weekend. Here's your forecast for today. Mostly sunny and warmer and a high to 82. The winds out of the west at 5 to 10. Tonight, mostly clear and not as cool with a low of 65. Your pollen count is still low, 43. 5-day forecast for tomorrow, partly sunny, warmer and more humid with a high of 86. Sunday, partly sunny, warm, humid, a chance of a late day shower on Father's Day. And Monday, showers in the forecast, a high of 89. Tuesday and Wednesday, not much of a cool down behind that front that comes through on Monday. Beach and boating forecast, partly sunny, warm and humid at the beaches tomorrow. Temperatures 80 to 85 with a water temp about 65. And the Tandex and 8. Bring the sunscreen. Your boating forecast, wave heights on the ocean 2 to 3 feet, on the Sound 1 to 2, and the winds are out of the west at 10 to 15 knots. Looks like fun on that sailboat. I'd like to be there myself. Jim?
All right, Julie, thank you very much. 7:11 is the time. Still ahead on Good Day. Dick Oliver on the very expensive table that we taxpayers bought for the city government. And on this Father's Day weekend, we look at Dad in the 90s. Larry Hoff will go rollerblading. Actor Ray Sharkey will join us. And we'll have an interview with a modern-day Robin Hood, Kevin Costner. Well, Larry Hoff will be trying those tricks a little later in the program. Right now, Dick Oliver is live out in Queens talking about libraries. Ollie?
That's right, Jim. Something I learned the other day, the Queens Public Library System, the busiest in the nation with some 13.2 million books and magazines and tapes circulated each year. Well, like many of the institutions of our city, the public library system, all three of them in this city, are facing deep, deep cuts. We have with us now the director of the Queens Public Library, Constance Cook. Ms. Cook, thank you for being with us.
I'm happy.
What will these cuts mean? We're talking about millions of dollars possibly being lost. What will they mean to the Queens system?
Well, it means that we're going to have to close 25 of our libraries, and we'll have to lay off 228 staff members.
You've taken the position that rather than cut back hours, you'd rather close the system and keep the quality up on whatever days you have the library open.
That's right. We explored an alternative of keeping many branches open only a few days, but in order to do that, we'd have to lay off 88 additional people and provide a less than average service. So we think that by putting our resources into the 37 remaining branches, we can do a better job.
Now, the Queens system is unique in that we have so many different ethnic people around this borough. You have programs, especially literacy programs. Tell us about some of them.
Well, we have a literacy program that emanates from 6 branches. We also have a very strong ESL, English as a second language program for people from all countries. We give that those free classes in English in our branches. And in the library, when we register those classes at 10 a.m., people start lining up here at 5 a.m. in order to get in. The demand is that great. We turn thousands of people away every year.
Now, there was a big rally yesterday, which I happened to attend to save our library system with the 3 public libraries making an appearance. You also had some talks with Mayor Dinkins. Did you get any assurance that the libraries could be saved?
Well, the mayor did assure us that he'd always been a supporter of libraries, and he was going to do his utmost to see that libraries could be saved in this budget negotiation that was going on.
Ms. Cook, thank you for being on Good Day New York, and good luck in your efforts to save the library system. Jim, later on in the program, we'll tell you about the other side of the budget story, another city boondoggle, a table going for thousands and thousands of dollars. Back to you.
All right, Ali, thank you very much. A quick look at Wall Street now. The Dow Jones closed up yesterday, a little more than 3 points on the first day of extended trading. The price of a share was up 8 cents. Over on the Amex, the price of a share was down 2 cents, and the index down about 2/3 of a point. This morning in early trading, the dollar is mixed against foreign currencies, and gold prices are lower. Still ahead, Larry Hoff on rollerblades. 7:20 is the time. Well, question, what is enjoying a great deal of popularity these days? It's a lot of fun, but can be dangerous. Let's go to Larry Hoff for the answer.
Well, we're talking about skating here. People call it rollerblading, but when you talk to the pros, they say they call it inline skating is the proper term. And I bet you everybody else falls back on rollerblading. This is Team Rollerblade, professionals that travel the country performing. They're also competing Saturday at Flushing Meadows in a 10K race, and also scouting on the East Coast for a Team Rollerblade East Coast division. Okay, we're watching the pros perform, very good skaters. But also this morning, we're going to be talking about the proper equipment for rollerblading. Hugely popular sport in this area, but a lot of people are just going out buying brand new blades just like these, putting them on with no training, heading out and breaking bones. In fact, the emergency rooms around Manhattan are reporting record numbers of people showing up on the weekend with broken wrists, bumps and bruises, cuts. Even our own Rob Alexander, our audio man, I don't know if we're talking to him yet this morning, James, but he had a serious injury last week where he just put on the blades, went out, fell onto his face, and he is still hospitalized as a result of that. So we're going to be talking with the medical experts about the do's and don'ts, the rights and wrongs of inline skating. Again, they don't like to call it rollerblading. Inline skating this morning. I have my own pair, Jim, and we'll have some training. Then, for the coup de grace, we will jump the limo at the end. That is definitely for the pros out there, unless you want to come down and give it a try on your bike. Back to you, James.
You know, Larry, can you hear me?
I sure can.
I was talking with Rob on the phone the other day, and he mentioned that the place where he rented the skates, he could not rent a helmet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to investigate that this morning, but are we going to talk with Rob? Do we have a chance to do that?
Maybe we'll do that a little later in the program.
All right.
We'll call him and wake him up.
All right.
We'll get back to you. Thank you. Once upon a time, Irish music was heard only on St. Patrick's Day in this country, but these days, Irish singers can be heard year-round, and they sing about a lot more than unicorns and bonny lassies. Mark Shearer has more.
Every raindrop would be gold.
It's a long way from Nashville to Donegal, but right there where the Grand Ole Opry meets the Emerald Isle, you'll find Daniel O'Donnell.
Today, and as long as I can remember, we have had a great tradition of country music in Ireland. Back in the early 60s, American country singer Johnny Cash came here for the first of his many tours. He was so taken with the beauty of Ireland that he sat down and wrote this next song. I close my eyes and picture the emerald of the sea. We had a great deal of the American artists like Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, Kitty Wells, Hank Williams, all the old traditional country music singers. We had all of their albums, and I grew up listening to that.
O'Donnell, the most successful homegrown country and easy-listening artist in the British Isles, recorded his latest album in Nashville with Garth Brooks and Kathy Mattea as producer. It's not available in the U.S. Only slightly better known outside Ireland is Paul Brady, with a stateside release of a rock-flavored album, Trick or Treat. He emerged from a 60s Irish folk music boom.
I was keeping my ear on what was happening in the rock world, but I was mainly interested in Irish music in that whole period, and it wasn't really until the end of the 70s that I became motivated to go back to the music, like the rock, blues, country, and the jazz and stuff that I had been listening to before I discovered folk music.
Bonnie Raitt wound up singing on Brady's album after he learned she was one of his avid fans.
I wasn't aware that she knew anything about me.
It would be a mistake, says Paul Brady, to underestimate the scope of Irish music.
I don't think it does the music or the culture any service at all to kind of try and narrow it down into some kind of small little furrow, because, I mean, a lot happening there.
One moment time. Mark Shearer, New York.
Well, one singer who fits into the international mold is John McNally. Irish-born, he's an Australian citizen living in Nashville. And he's appearing at Avery Fisher Hall, 8 o'clock tonight, Lincoln Center, and he joins us now. John, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. It's nice to be here.
Let me ask you about that varied background of yours now. How do you come to be born in Ireland, Australian citizen, and living in Nashville?
I took a wrong turn. Really what happened was I just went to Australia, had a bit of success there and stayed. I lived there for 14 years, came back to Ireland to do some concerts, and then on the way stopped in America, did a Carnegie Hall, and then fell in love with the American audiences all over again, so decided I'd have another go. So then I came to Nashville.
And what happens in Nashville? Why Nashville?
Well, I have some friends there. I've recorded 10 albums there, and I do quite a bit of television out of Nashville on the TNN network. And it's been good to me, so I stayed there. And there's a great affinity, you know, between country music and Irish music.
There is indeed. As a matter of fact, I was thinking the other day that, you remember the old black spiritual song, you know, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. All you have to do is change the rhythm a little bit, and you have da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's right. Now you have it, exactly. That's pretty good. And there's many examples of it. All the bluegrass music, you know, and the fiddling comes from, its derivation is Irish jigs and reels. And of course the clog dancing comes from the Irish step dancing. And here's a pretty good example that you may not have thought of. A song that I'm quite sure you know well and has been a big hit. As I walked out in the streets of Laredo, as I walked out in Laredo one day, I saw a young cowboy all wrapped in white linen as cold as the clay. Here's the song that they got it from. I list to the strains of a poor Irish harper, and scorn not the strains from his poor withered hand. Remember his fingers oft move more sharper, to raise up the memory of his dear native land. Exactly the same melody.
All right,
exactly
John.
the same.
Well, if you'd like to hear more of that, John McNally is appearing tonight at Avery Fisher Hall at 8 o'clock. Be there or be square. Thank you for joining us, John.
Thank you, Jim. It's nice to talk to you.
In our next half hour, a look at the changing role of Dad in the 90s.
But me, I don't get enough time with this little guy. I run home.
You are watching Fox 5.
When beautiful exchange student Catherine Ailing met Curtis Howard, police say he developed a fatal attraction that ended with her brutal murder. Cops say he crossed the world to kill her. Passport to murder? Watch A Current Affair tonight at 7:30 on Fox 5 New York.
Morning once again. Right now, 58 degrees and sunny, heading up to 82 today. Full weather and traffic in just a few minutes, but first, the top stories of the day with Lynn White. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Jim, and good morning, everyone. Police investigators say they'll be interviewing everyone who was on the scene when police diver Kenneth Hansen drowned. Hansen was posing as a victim during a sea rescue drill. It was being videotaped for German television. Sources say Hansen decided not to wear a flotation device, so the mock rescue would look more dramatic for the cameras. Police Chief Robert Johnston says there are too many unanswered questions here.
One, what happened? Two, why did it happen? In other words, what planning took place, etc., etc. Who was given what assignment? Did they do their assignment? Was there any negligence?
The guy was a hot dog. He didn't wear his safety thing. That was dumb.
And there was apparently another video camera rolling at the time. Sources tell Fox 5 News that Hansen's brother, also a cop, was in a police helicopter recording the entire drill. At Hansen's wake, his mother reportedly wailed, "My son died for a movie," and then she collapsed. Hundreds of mourners paid their respects yesterday, filing past Hansen's open casket. A funeral mass will be said tomorrow at St. Columbia Roman Catholic Church in Brooklyn. Some pro golfers say warnings to clear a Minnesota golf course came too late at the U.S. Open. Yesterday, lightning struck and killed one spectator. 5 others were wounded. Some golfers say they saw lightning in the sky up to 25 minutes before the warning. The injured men had taken shelter from falling rain under an isolated willow tree. More than 40,000 fans had no place else to go. And in the words of police, that made for a worst-case scenario. The Philippines' Pinatubo volcano erupted once again. U.S. officials in the Philippines report the volcano reawakened just a few hours ago. It spewed gas and steam up to 15 miles into the air. Initial reports say the eruption does not appear to be as severe as the ones earlier in the week. And because of the volcano, U.S. officials say American troops have begun flying warplanes out of the Philippines to Japan. A landmark FCC ruling should lower lots of cable TV bills around the country, but not here in New York. The FCC voted to allow local governments to regulate prices charged by cable systems. But cable systems facing competition from at least 6 over-the-air broadcast stations are exempt from price controls. That leaves the Big Apple out, along with most major cities. Alarming news about unwed mothers. Researchers say in 1 year, more than 1 million babies were born to unmarried mothers in the U.S. This was all back in 1988, and it was the first time more than 1 million births of this kind were reported. But contrary to what people might think, the rates were not highest among teenagers. The highest birth rate for unmarried women is in the 20 to 24 age group. Tennis great Martina Navratilova has been hit with a lawsuit. You might call it a case of galimony. Her former live-in lover wants millions. Judy Nelson left her husband for Navratilova. The women had a relationship for 7 years. Word is they agreed to share all the money they made while they were together. But the love went out of the match, and Miss Navratilova said the partnership was over. It could be a tough fight for Martina because there's a record of the financial agreement.
This agreement to make y'all partners. Partners in everything. Partners if you lose, partners if you win.
Was hearing about the agreement for the first time as I was doing the video, and it seemed a lot more complicated than what I had drawn up myself, and said quite different things.
Miss Navratilova says the suit couldn't come at a worse time. She's now preparing for Wimbledon. A quick check of sports. The Yanks play deep in the heart of Texas tonight, taking on the Rangers. Last night, the Twins proved why they're the best ball club in the majors. Minnesota stomped on the Yanks 10-3. And the Mets lost 2. The Braves beat them at Shea 3-2. Tonight, the Mets host the Houston Astros. Hopefully, they'll get a win there. And 33 golfers at the U.S. Open finished the first round today. The rest begin the second round following that fatal storm we told you about. Finally, New Jersey now has a state dinosaur. Governor Florio signed the legislation yesterday. The official prehistoric reptile of the Garden State is a Hadrosaurus. A nearly intact skeleton of the beast was dug up in 1858 in the town of Haddonfield. Hadrosaurus was an 8-ton duck-billed plant eater that roamed the earth about 70 million years ago, the pre-turnpike era. That'll do it from the news desk. Jim Ryan has more. Good day. Jim?
No cries in the night for men? Maybe.
Your name is next, Jim.
Try Gil.
Oh, thank you very much. He'll appreciate that.
Gil is Lynn's husband. Here's Candy Roth and Look at the Roads.
All right, Jim, thank you. We got a major accident this morning in New Jersey. It is eastbound on Route 78. Traffic very heavy coming up through exit 49 in Springfield. It's a 3-car and a bus accident, and the locals leaving only the center lane open. Use the express, but both local and express lanes are very heavy and expected to get worse before it gets better because this accident just occurred minutes ago. It is east on 78 again at exit 49. Very serious accident in the locals, leaving only the center lane open. Also, if you're traveling in at your Holland and Lincoln tunnels, you're up to a 30-minute delay. Going to the George Washington Bridge, 10 to 15 minutes so far. Also, if you're coming down the southbound West Side Highway, you'll be busy off the bridge to the 150s. And going over to the drive southbound, it's backing up from the 120s down to the 80s. We do have alternate side of the street parking rules in effect today. And I'm Candy Roth. That's your good day. Way to go, traffic update. Jim?
All right, Candy. Thank you very much.
Nice day today, nice weekend.
Sure nice walking out the door, I tell you.
Absolutely. It's a little bit drier than we had yesterday, and we're getting rid of the breeze. So right now, 58 degrees and sunny in Central Park. The humidity is at 62%. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 5, and the barometer 30.11 and holding steady. On the satellite picture, nice clear skies over us, but back to the west, looking to Minnesota, where they had that tragic golf tournament, the lightning strike at the golf tournament yesterday. They've got more showers and thunderstorms falling there. For us, the high will stay with us. Temperatures now just about 60 degrees around most of the area, 58 in Islip, 62 at LaGuardia. And on your map today, lots of sunshine, should stay here all day. Tomorrow, that warm front comes through, so we are going to have increased humidity for the weekend, possibly a shower by late in the weekend, late in the day on Sunday. Forecast for today shapes up like this: mostly sunny, warmer than yesterday. High about 82. Tonight, mostly clear and not as cool with a low of 65. Your pollen count, 43. That's low. And in your 5-day forecast, tomorrow we heat up to 86. Sunday, more humidity and 88 degrees with a chance of an afternoon shower with all the instability around. Monday, the front comes through. We get some showers and 89 degrees. Not much of a cool down behind that front. Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures staying in the mid-80s with plenty of sunshine. And Jim, I think you better start the diet maybe next week. Look at this candy bar, folks. This is a giant, what is this, 9.5-pound Nestle Crunch bar that the nice folks from Nestle sent over for you to say, Happy Father's Day. Isn't that nice?
9.25 pounds.
Yeah.
So they couldn't afford 10? All right, thank the folks from Nestle. We'll have to spread this around.
It's the unbelievably big bar.
How come if I ate 9.25 pounds worth of chocolate, I'd wind up gaining 90 pounds?
It doesn't work that way.
All right, we'll take a short break now and leave you with the winning lottery. Well, we'll see how well Larry Hoff does rollerblading in just a few minutes, but right now, as we approach Father's Day, Julie's here to talk about Dad.
Dear old Dad. Well, he was always there for those Kodak moments. He helped you blow out the birthday candles, taught you how to throw a ball, and gave you the confidence to stand tall at graduation. But times have changed, and dads are now changing diapers. The 90s father is there for the birth of his child, a profound and powerful experience. We talked with dads at the Mayfair Regent, and to hear them tell it, it sure beats babysitting a cigar in the waiting room.
Even from the time of birth, we were part of the process. You know, it's, you know, the modern dad. When's it going to start? It started.
No, right before Noah's sister was born, the midwife turned to me and said, "You're going to deliver this baby, right?" And I said, "My God, I've never delivered one before." She said, "Well, I'll do most of the work." But right from that very moment, we were involved, you know, so close to the child. And it's something I'm sure my dad was not even aware of, that type of feeling that you get right at the moment of birth. And you know, I'm sure he was out in the waiting room smoking a cigar, as most men were at that time. So
I was present at a second cesarean section, which was quite amazing. And it definitely affects, you know, your sensibility about the child. You know, I mean, it's not a mystery of where they come from anymore. You know, it's a very moving experience, and men are affected by that. There's no doubt about it.
After Rafi was born, I picked him up out of the nursery and started walking around the hospital with my smile going, you know, literally from ear to ear. And a nurse caught me, and she said, "We don't walk around with these newborn babies like that. You could drop them."
Being with the child early on, right away from birth, is a very great experience and helps develop a good love affair.
It's certainly different now going to work and meeting, you know, other men and actually talking about your kids, right? I mean, isn't that different? I mean, it's it almost feels like girl talk sometimes. You know, oh, you should see, you know, she's doing this now and she's doing, you know, it's
Just this afternoon he turned over, and you know, by himself, you know, and it's like, you know, you get so excited over dumb things. And my wife and I filmed it, you know, and we cameraed it, you know, and called up everybody we could think of calling up. He turned over, you know, the other end of the phone is, you know, yeah, he turned over. Great. My wife and I are opening up champagne and all kinds of stuff. You know, my father was hardly around. He worked nights and would leave for work midnight and not return home until 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So I really didn't get a good chance to know him until I was like 7 or 8 years old.
My parents were divorced, so for me it was a learning experience from
day one when Erica was born, so I had to learn by myself with my wife and just whatever came natural. And
my daughter's school moved, and I had to walk her half a mile instead of across the street. And I thought, you know, things are busy enough. I don't need an added walk in the morning. And it turned out to be the time during the day when she and I got to talk.
He's nice. He's a real good dad. We have fun together lots of times.
Well, what I like to do is sometimes when he comes home from work early, we go out and play some soccer on the school field, and he teaches me new moves.
But it's no longer exclusively the mother's job to have a relationship.
Right, the hunter-gatherers or whatever.
Yeah.
Times have changed. I guess.
I mean, a lot of things have changed in the culture, but I think maybe we've come to recognize the importance of having relationships with your children.
He wakes up with me in the morning. I tell my wife to stay in bed, and I feed him, and I change him, and I play with him, and before I know it, it's 9 o'clock. It's time to go to, you know, come home 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you know, I have to literally push my wife out to, you know, go shopping, go buy yourself something, go buy him something. You know, leave me alone with him, you know.
Well, let's be perfectly honest. I don't mind closing the door on the way to work at 9 o'clock when the baby is screaming.
As soon as the baby is born, your life has changed.
But me, I don't get enough time with this little guy. I run home. I leave late in the morning, I run home, and I just think it's wonderful. The trip.
You're a good girl, huh?
Oh, that's so sweet. Joining us now is Freddie Greenberg. She is editor-in-chief of Child Magazine. Welcome.
Good morning.
What's different about the 90s dad?
Well, I think the biggest difference now is that they want to be involved, Julie, and what used to be more a matter of convenience of helping mom out at home is now seen as something that is really essential to a child's development. Recent studies have shown that the more involved a father is, the higher the child's self-esteem will be as a result. And that's really news, and that really should push fathers to want to be more involved. And it should also help mothers help fathers get more involved. One of the catch-22s of all this has been that although women wanted their husbands to be involved with kids' child rearing, they got kind of territorial about it.
So they're getting defensive sometimes now when the father starts to become too big a part. The mothers are saying, wait a second,
hey, wait a minute,
this
is my territory, this is my business. Even if they work full-time and are career women, they still feel this should really be my primary function. And so sometimes they sabotage a dad's attempts to really be involved. And what women have to recognize is it's so important for fathers to be involved and to share as equally as possible in parenting, that they need to help fathers. Fathers in some ways are where women were 20 years ago when they started to enter the workforce in large numbers. They went into an office, they really wanted to be involved, they wanted to succeed, but they were strangers. And in a lot of ways, dads are like that today, and moms need to get them involved, help them, and support them. And if the kid comes out wearing polka dots and stripes or eating bananas for dinner, it's not going to kill him. It'll really be better in the long run.
Is the added responsibility at home for the fathers affecting them at all at the office now? Are we finding their careers aren't going along as quickly perhaps as they should? Or
I think that dads are reprioritizing to a large extent, and they're saying, wait a minute, I don't know if it's worth working 16-hour days and missing an opportunity to be with my kids or only kissing them goodnight. And they are rethinking this, and also they're getting a lot more pleasure out of it.
Looking a couple of generations ahead now, given this new trend, what kind of effects is it going to have on families?
Well, I think the biggest difference is going to be on boys, for example, feeling more comfortable nurturing, feeling more comfortable with relationships, and girls feeling more assertive and more able to be independent. These are two of the other things that we've seen the effects of very involved fathers have on children.
Okay, and if you'd like to read more about this, Child Magazine has a great article in here this month about dear old dad. Thanks for joining us, Freddie Greenberg from Child Magazine. And Jim, we want to say a special happy Father's Day to one of our favorite fathers here, our executive producer, JB. There he is with his beautiful daughter, Kaylee.
Oh, my goodness. Your job is secure.
Oh, good. Happy Father's Day, JB.
Absolutely. You know, did you notice how having a baby humanized JB?
Well, I didn't know him before he had
he no
Kaylee.
longer foams at the mouth. It's been a very humanizing effect on JB. Happy Father's Day. 7:52 is the time. Let's get back out into Central Park with Larry Huff and go rollerblading.
Oh, Jim, check out the outfit.
Whoa.
I put on a designer T-shirt, and I have all the gear. And I'm also with Team Rollerblade this morning. A lot of you saw them in action. They make the sport look very easy. It is a growing sport here in the New York area. You have thousands of people coming into Central Park alone, rollerblading the weekend away. You'll even see commuters, people heading off to work in suit and tie, dress and coat, down the streets of Manhattan on rollerblades. There's a downside to this sport, though. It doesn't seem it with these guys. They do it so well, but there are a lot of people, in fact, a rash of people who are ending up in the emergency rooms around the New York area with a lot of broken bones, and that brings us to Dr. Pierce Ferreter. Am I saying that correctly, Doctor?
Correctly.
What are you seeing here? What's happening to the people?
We've seen a dramatic increase in rollerblade injuries over the weekends in Central Park along the streets of New York City. People falling down, breaking their bones, their elbows, their shoulders, their wrists, their knees.
What's the most common?
The most common sport is, the most common injury is an injury involving the wrist, falling backwards, landing on their wrist, fracturing their wrist.
Now, are these veteran rollerbladers? Is it a sport that's just a high-risk one? Or do you notice it being really just the beginners, the people who went out, bought a pair of rollerblades, I should say online skates, and end up, say, going beyond their bounds?
Most of the people are beginners, never having put on rollerblades before, not prepared for the sport, the speed they're going to find when they rollerblade, and falling down, injuring themselves.
Is it a very serious injury? I mean, very complicated breaks and such, or, you know, the bumps and bruises and...
A lot of them are bumps and bruises, but frequently you'll find an injury that is severe, an injury that sometimes requires surgery.
Let's bring in AJ. AJ and the team, come on over here, because I think it's time to talk about the, whoa, make that real close. What do you guys recommend for standard gear? Doctor, come on over a little close with the microphone.
As you know, wrist injuries are very high these days, and that's the most common skate injury. We really recommend a really firm protective wrist protector.
And this has a plastic plate going across it there. Doctor, can that do you think, prevent
Absolutely.
the broken wrist?
The common injury, as AJ said, is a fall on the wrist, extending the wrist.
People what? They have a tendency to go backwards and they want to put their hands back and snap the wrist.
Right.
Ouch. Okay, yes. I have on the... and if I start sliding, just put your hand out and stop me. AJ.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, the elbow pads are very important, you know, for those who are really concentrating on putting their elbows on the table when Mommy says no, really. And actually, the elbow pads are very important for a lot of people who attend.
Stand-up comedian here, Jim.
Who actually want to, you know, go down on their elbows to protect their wrists as well. Mm-hmm. Now, the knee pads are also a very important tool. We're professional skaters, but we also skate safe, skate smart. It's cool to wear protective gear, and I wear my protective gear everywhere I go.
Yeah, and this guy never does fall. In fact, AJ will be doing the car jump a little bit later. And Jimmy brought it up. I didn't know, you know, at the time, so I didn't discuss it. Yes, they do recommend the helmet. How come you guys don't wear a helmet? Is it just you're doing this for show right now, or do you wear helmets when you're out there?
Dude, it's a California thing. No.
No, where are you from, by the way?
No, we wear helmets when we do a lot of the, you know, really intense stunts and stuff like that. But just kind of hanging out, you know, we casually skate around. It's okay not to wear helmets if you're intermediate, advanced skater. For beginners, I recommend helmets.
Well, Doctor, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Stick around if you would. When we come back, James, we'll move on to the next level. You have all your gear and everything, but all of these people recommend that if you're buying the rollerblades for the first time, you should be thinking about some lessons as well, and we'll get into the do's and don'ts of rollerblading. Coming up in a little bit on Good Day New York. Back to you, James.
All right, Larry, thank you very much. And here are some of the other stories that we're following for you this morning. New Jersey's sterling credit rating may be in jeopardy. The state's been placed on a credit watch by a leading rating agency. Standard & Poor's says the warning to investors was issued for a number of reasons, including concerns about the budget gap. The credit watch could eventually result in New Jersey's AAA rating being downgraded. A lower rating means the state would have to pay higher interest rates on its bonds. And scientists are expecting a rise in UFO sightings during the next week. The planets Venus, Jupiter, and Mars are lining up in the night sky, and together they'll appear to us like one giant bright ball. And no one on Earth has seen anything like it, and that's because the last time this happened was a few hundred years ago. In business, IBM has introduced 4 low-cost computers aimed at boosting its share of the PC market. Inexpensive clones have been cutting into IBM's business for years. Still ahead, Kevin Costner. Morning once again. Welcome to the second hour of Good Day New York. Our top stories: lightning struck at the U.S. Open golf tournament in Minnesota. 1 person was killed, 5 were injured. In Los Angeles, a police helicopter crashed into a busy neighborhood. 2 officers inside were killed. And as the police scuba diver who died in a routine training exercise was laid to rest, an investigation began into the cause of his death. Former Queens DA John Santucci gave out raises to key staffers as he went out the door. In sports, the Mets, Yanks both lost. Now let's see what's ahead in the next hour, beginning with Julie Golden and a look at the weather.
Good morning. It's Friday, June 14th, and it's Flag Day, a gorgeous day ahead. Mostly sunny and 82 for the high. I'll have your Father's Day forecast coming up. Good day, New York.
Dick Oliver reporting. You remember the mayor's headboard? Well, the city is still in the habit of going out and buying things and paying 3, 4, and 5 times what you and I would pay for the same thing. We'll show you this latest boondoggle here on Good Day New York.
And here they come. I'll explain in a second. Larry Hoff live in Central Park. They say this is part of rollerblading. We'll explain it all coming up. We'll even show you how to start out with your brand new rollerblades. Good day, New York.
Getting down with the ladies. 61 degrees under sunny skies. Julie Golden will be along in just a few minutes with a complete forecast. But first, a look at the top stories of the day with Lynn White. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Jim, and good morning, everyone. The death of police diver Kenneth Hansen is now the focus of a major investigation. Hansen drowned Tuesday while posing as a victim in a rescue training exercise. Fox 5 News has learned some disturbing things about that case, as Penny Crone reports.
Police sources tell us many police safety procedures may have been broken. For example, Hansen was not wearing a flotation device, required in all training exercises. While Chief Johnston says the department knew a German video crew was taping the everyday routine of the Harbor Patrol, it is investigating whether it was a legitimate training exercise. And Fox 5 has also learned a fire scuba team responded but was turned back, presumably because the Harbor Police said it needed no more help.
There are those that would say, can't help from anybody under the circumstances, and yet they were sent away. Do you have any reason to believe there was a cover-up, that they didn't want them there because they weren't doing the right thing?
I don't know that yet.
And there's apparently more than 1 videotape of the tragedy. Sources say Hansen's brother, also a cop, was in a police helicopter overhead recording the training exercise. Officer Hansen's wake was held yesterday in Brooklyn. Hundreds of mourners paid their respects, filing past the open casket. Hansen's mother reportedly screamed, "My son died for a movie." Then she collapsed. There are reports that Hansen chose not to wear a life jacket so the rescue would look more dramatic for the German television crew filming. The U.S. Open resumes play in Minnesota today, and many on the scene say the mood is somber following yesterday's tragedy. Lightning struck during the opening round. 1 27-year-old man was killed, 5 others injured. All 6 spectators were huddled under the same isolated willow tree. 40,000 others were gathered along the course. And tournament officials say it was a miracle that more people didn't get hurt. In South Los Angeles yesterday, a police helicopter crashed into a parking lot in a busy neighborhood. The 2 officers inside were killed. So was a man on the ground. Just before the crash, the pilot radioed he was having engine trouble. As the helicopter went down, it barely missed a daycare center. The center was filled with children. Figures released by the Census Bureau show that fixing the 1990 count would hurt the Northeast even more than the original census. Population counts for New Jersey and New York were lower than expected. Officials concede they missed 5 million people. A low count can cost seats in Congress and federal aid. If the head count is modified, California would get even more aid and political power. New York State would lose out, but the city would actually gain. John Santucci retired as Queens DA on June 1st. According to the Daily News, he gave up 18 top staffers. He gave them something to remember him by, pay hikes of up to $15,000. 3 executive assistants pocketed $5,000 raises. Assistant DA Kenneth Holder got a $15,000 boost and a promotion. It all comes at a time when Mayor Dinkins has frozen the pay of 3,800 officials to help close the city's budget gap. More and more children are coming down with measles these days. It's reached epidemic levels in some areas. Now President Bush and Health Secretary Louis Sullivan are urging parents and health officials to make sure all youngsters get their measles shots.
Today I call on every parent, everywhere in America. Don't take a chance. The facilities are there. The vaccines are available. Call your local public health official or your own physician. Please make sure your child is immunized.
Mr. Bush says measles SWAT teams from the health department will be going around the country looking for ways to improve immunization programs. In sports, thanks to the Yanks, the Twins are still the best team in baseball. Last night in Minneapolis, Ken Herbeck smacked a double to the opposite field, and Mel Hall had trouble fielding it. That was good for an RBI, and the Twins took a 2-0 lead. Mike Witt left the game with a bad elbow, and Mel Hall had some trouble at bat, too. Luckily, nobody got hurt on that slippery swing. Minnesota buried the Bombers 10-3. Tonight, the Yanks take on Texas. Yesterday at Shea, the Mets, Howard Johnson singled in Dave Magadan. That gave New York a 2-0 lead in the first inning. Then watch for Kevin McReynolds in the second as he hustled and robbed Greg Olson. But Wally Whitehurst allowed 3 runs on 5 hits, including this 2-run homer by Sid Bream in the 4th inning. Braves beat the Mets 3-2 as New York slips to 3rd place. The Mets are now last in the National League in hitting. Tonight, they try it again as they host the Astros. Finally, 2 years ago, a man in Philadelphia bought a painting at a flea market for $4. He didn't want the picture, just the nice frame. When he took the painting out, he saw something stuffed behind it. It turned out to be a rare copy of the Declaration of Independence. It sold at Sotheby's auction house yesterday for a lot more than even the experts predicted.
$2,200,198.
I think it's a bargain, particularly what's going on in the world today. I think this is a living document. The words in this document are the words that knocked down the Berlin Wall, that freed Poland, and probably elected Boris Yeltsin yesterday in Russia.
The document is one of 200 copies of the Declaration printed on July 4th, 1776. 24 are known to exist. I'd like to find one of them.
Just one would do.
Just one would do.
All right, Lynn, thank you very much. Now, for the latest on the morning's rush hour, here's Candy Roth.
Thank you. We have a very bad accident this morning. If you're traveling in New Jersey on eastbound Route 78, traffic is backed up over 4 miles coming through to exit 49 in Springfield. Very serious accident involving a minibus and a couple of cars. It closes all of the local lanes. Traffic is backed up for 4 miles. Use the express lanes, though they too are suffering. Westbound, you also have rubbernecking. Route 22 would be one alternate for you, but again, this accident is east on 78 in the local lanes through exit 49 and a 4-mile backup. Also, if you're heading to the George Washington Bridge, 10 to 15-minute delays this morning at the Holland and Lincoln tunnels. You'll wait 25 to 30 minutes, and it's still looking very bad if you're traveling south on the BQE from Queens Boulevard to the Kosciuszko Bridge. We have alternate side of the street parking rules in effect today, and I'm Candy Roth. That's your good day. Way to go, traffic update. Jim?
All right, Candy, thank you very much. You know, it was really a tragedy what happened at the U.S. Open. You know, how many times have you been told since you were, 5 years old,
don't go under
a tree during a thunderstorm?
Well, it was a tragedy, and they've got more showers and thunderstorms today, so hopefully the folks will heed your advice today and not go into the tree this afternoon at the U.S. Open. Right now, we've got beautiful weather. Sunny skies, 61 degrees, humidity at 56%, winds are from the west-northwest at 12, and the barometer 30.11 and holding steady. The satellite picture shows nice, clear skies over most of the northeast, but there you see back in through Minnesota, that heavy cloud cover with showers and thunderstorms for them. There's a map for today, front down to the south of us, and a warm front back to the west for tomorrow. That means increased humidity as the weekend goes on, just a shot at some showers on Father's Day. Your forecast for Flag Day goes like this: mostly sunny and warmer and a high to 82. Tonight mostly clear, not as cool, 65 for the low. The pollen count is also low, we're at 43. Your 5-day forecast: partly sunny, warmer and humid tomorrow with a high to 86. For Father's Day, partly sunny, warm and humid, and a chance of a late day shower. 88 will be the high. Monday, we get a chance of showers in with the passage of another frontal boundary. 89 will be the high on Monday, and then just a bit of a cool down for Tuesday and Wednesday. And your beach and boating forecast, if you're heading out to do some fun in the sun this weekend: partly sunny, warm and humid, temps in the 80 to 85 range. The water temperature up to 65 now. The Tandex in 8 for tomorrow. And your boating forecast: 2 to 3 feet on the ocean for the wave heights, 1 to 2 on the sound, winds west at 10 to 15. That sailboat looks like a lot of fun.
All right, Julie, thank you very much. Still ahead in this hour, Dick Oliver on a very expensive table for city government that we taxpayers paid for. And Larry Hoff will continue his rollerblading exhibition. And we'll have interviews with Kevin Costner and Ray Sharkey. And we'll be joined live by sexy sax player Candy Dulfer. Starting to get there. He's starting to get there. Right now, we're starting to get to Dick Oliver because he's going to tell us about a rather expensive piece of furniture.
Jim, there's nothing new about waste in government. We've been seeing it here and there all through the years. As a matter of fact, we heard recently about the mayor's headboard. Seems that when the city goes out to purchase something, it sometimes pays 3, 4, 5 times what you and I would pay for the same item or service. Here's a look at another city boondoggle. In this Reed Street building sits the latest in city planning. This is the hearing room of the City Planning Commission. During any given day, it's used for meetings concerning zoning laws, and because of the city charter revision, the expanded commission has been handed greater powers dealing with what's being built in this city and where. But something has passed by without much fanfare: what was being built for their offices. You see, the brand new conference table the commission calls home has a price tag of $19,000, all taxpayer money.
The law says that the public has to be able to view them and has to be able to view the presentations that are being given to them. In addition, the commission has to be able to talk to itself, so we had to have a bent table so that they weren't all out in one line. We had 13 people who needed a workstation. I have a desk, I have a typewriter, I have a lamp, you have a camera. This is the only place they're allowed to meet to discuss the major land use matters that come before the largest city in America.
Records obtained by the Manhattan Spirit Weekly newspaper show the planning department paid Marathon Orbit, a Bronx company based in this 3-story building in Westchester Square, over $7,000 for the steelwork on the desk. The commission also paid a Long Island City company nearly $12,000 for the elaborate woodwork. But it didn't file the contract with the Comptroller's office, something required under law when contracts exceed $10,000. And now the deal is under investigation.
Obviously, not only is the bad judgment shown in buying a table of this expense, why do you need a custom-made table? I mean, in time of fiscal crisis. But the other problem is why the purchasing personnel at the City Planning Commission didn't check the city's basic computer to find out if there was a problem with the company they were planning to do business with. If they had, they would have seen the company was under investigation, was in the city's computer.
Woodwork has been quite expensive in New York. There was the $11,000 headboard for Mayor Dinkins, the $1 million furniture for the DOT, and now the $19,000 conference table. 16 workers at the planning department have already been laid off. A junior planner makes $21,000, and more layoffs are imminent.
It's horrible to see people laid off. On the other hand, there are daily necessities. We can't work without typewriters, pencils, a desk like this to accommodate 13 people to work on, to do their daily work. those things have to be paid for at the same time.
Given the specifications for the conference table, companies all around the city said they could build the same for as low as $1,200 to as much as $7,200, one-third what the city paid.
We did the lowest bid in a public bidding process. The highest bid was $62,000. We paid 19-something.
So the city thinks it got a deal. And the investigation continues into the same company which has also participated in other city projects. Jim?
I want to see the desk that cost $62,000. All right, Ollie, thank you very much. Deciding to go to college or perhaps get a job after graduating high school can be tough questions for any high school student. But Bronx Lebanon Hospital, in cooperation with Taft High School, have developed a training program that's helping South Bronx youth write their own prescription for success. This report is part of the Fox 5's ongoing Great Expectations series. It's aimed at helping young people get ahead through education. And Denise Richardson has got the story.
I've lived in this neighborhood all my life. I love the Bronx. It's a nice neighborhood.
The South Bronx is often pictured as a community suffering from a terminal case of urban neglect. But look closer. It's changing. And there are signs that this community is trying to heal itself by helping its kids.
We had speakers come to school to tell us about the program and tell us that we had opportunities to go into any job field that we wanted to, and I, of course, picked nursing.
I was selected from certain students, and they asked me what I wanted to do, and I told them I wanted to work in the CAT scan department.
Taisha and Gerardo are both seniors in high school. They're working at a unique Bronx Lebanon Hospital volunteer training program. It's designed to encourage students to take the initiative in developing their careers in health.
We give them an exposure to the 200 fields and profession within a hospital setting.
The CAT scan department has helped me in ways of how to deal with patients, and I do many things like develop films, and sometimes I work with the computers and doing the films and placing patients on the tables, preparing tables for them.
I've learned to not be so fragile with babies. I've learned to how to cope with mothers that come in and stressed out from labor pains and all that.
Working at the hospital and acquiring marketable skills readies many of these high school students for employment even before graduation. But the goal of this program is to inspire them to continue their studies.
I'm going to be going to Florida, in college down there, and instead of going in cold, I have a little background on what I'm going to do.
I plan to go to school for 4 years, for a regular 4 years, and then train as a nurse. And hopefully I'll be staying at Bronx Lebanon, you know, as a volunteer.
Listening to Taisha and Gerardo share their thoughts about this program, it's apparent that their hard work is indeed paying off.
I still have time to be with my friends, and they admire me now. They admire the idea that I'm working, you know, every day like adults and everything.
Instead of being out there, you know, in the streets with other kids doing no good, it gives you an opportunity to feel how, you know, to see how it feels to work in the outside world.
Project directors at Bronx Lebanon hope that this program will help address the growing need for qualified health professionals.
In the next 10 years, there's going to be a 40% increase in healthcare professional jobs, and we have to meet that now. We might as well start building that foundation now.
I like it this way. You know, I want to work hard.
It's a very good program because they help you for your future.
All right, 8:21 is the time. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, Larry Hoff goes rocking and rolling. Let's go back to Larry Hoff now. Larry, where did you get that sweater?
It's not a sweater, it's a t-shirt, a designer rollerblade t-shirt. It's the look. Blade gear, James. Dude. Not bad. You know, I just put these on. I've done this one more time for a brief moment. Now, I can handle the moving. The thing that worries me the most, the stopping part. Right now, I'm using the big circles to stop. Now, Rollerblade recommends that if you're going to go out and buy the gear and everything, all that we talked about in the earlier segments, they recommend that you might pick up a book like this called Wheel Excitement. It's a training guide to rollerblading, online skating, as they call it. And they also have videos out, and these people recommend that you, if you can, get an experienced skater to teach you the fundamentals. This is Jane, and then all the team Rollerblade with us this morning. Again, I had no trouble, you know, just getting up and going. And I think a lot of people have roller skated, ice skated, and stuff like that. Do you recommend, you know, that people just go out and kind of just take it slowly, build up, or
Definitely. And if they've never been skating before, if they have no skating background, recommend a lesson very strongly.
But could you learn it on your own, just doing it?
Could, but make sure you're protected.
Show me how to stop. Let's go to that.
Okay. We're going to skate into it. You want to get your base at both feet. Bend your knees and push that right heel forward. Now stay right over it. Keep your weight forward.
I feel like I'm going to fall over backwards.
No, but
Isn't
that's
this
why
pretty,
you're going
Jim?
to keep that foot forward.
This is when you find out how,
Let's do it towards
how fat your butt is, I'll tell you, too. Nice shot, Tom. Thanks a lot. Okay, now.
Here we go.
T-stop?
And, okay. There you go. That was it.
Okay, show us, you guys. I feel like I'm going to tip over and I'm crawling. Do some high-speed stops. We'll let the team rollerblade
Here
show
goes
you
a
just
power slide.
A power slide
This
is the term.
is when you're going really fast. This is the ultimate. This is what's going to stop.
Yeah. Go ahead. Who's up next?
And here's a hockey stop. This is more a hockey, like a hockey glide into a slide.
Yeah? And this one? Very good. Okay. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try that T-stop.
Okay. Keep your hips square. Hey!
Yeah, but I feel like I'm going off that way. Okay, enough of that. What they're recommending is that you go out and get lessons. Time to show off. Come on, you guys. Team Rollerblade will be appearing at Flushing Meadows Park tonight for a workshop. Also tomorrow at 10 o'clock, excuse me, a 10K race. Okay, here's how you stop. There we go. You always keep a limo around. I like that. Tomorrow at 10K racing, you're also scouting for rollerbladers here in the New York area.
For Team Rollerblade, we're auditioning at one of our first auditions for Team Rollerblade.
Now, what are we going to see here? Look on down the road. Tommy, you want to get in position back there? I think, we okay? Okay, here we go.
We've got Bruce Action Jackson ready to jump this limo.
Yeah, now you don't do this in the first few days of rollerblading, you guys. Okay, action. It's yours. Yeah. Woo! Now, how much speed does he need here? Do a play-by-play for us.
Here we go. He needs all this speed. Woo!
All right. One more time.
One more time, Bruce.
AJ, try it again. One more time. Let's see that.
Pump that sucker.
How much speed does he need to do that? He makes that look too easy. We're going to have people now trying to do this over taxis. Jim, it's actually a very good system for commuting now. You do this on Fifth Avenue, you know, you can beat a stoplight or two. How long has AJ been rollerblading?
He's been with the company like 5 years. Bruce has created Team Rollerblade. He and Joel Schultz are the two people responsible that we have a performance team.
Jane, how long will it take to be a proficient rollerblader? What are you doing to me, Tommy?
It's the time that you put in. Okay. It's the time that you put in. If you put your time in and you get, it's comfort. If you feel comfortable.
Okay, let me wrap it up right here. James, back to you again. All the gear necessary, they say. Don't just buy rollerblades, put on your gym shorts, and head out into Central Park. You might be spending the afternoon in the emergency room. Back to you. Very good. Nice job.
All right, Larry, thank you. Still to come, actor Ray Sharkey.
I didn't mean to hurt you.
I know, but you did.
Morning once again, 61 degrees and sunny right now. It's going to be a great day. High of about 82. We'll have the full weather and traffic in just a moment, but first a look at the top stories of the day with Lynn White. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Jim, and good morning, everyone. Police investigators say they'll be interviewing everyone who was on the scene when police diver Kenneth Hansen drowned. Hansen was posing as a victim during a sea rescue drill. It was being videotaped for German television. Sources say Hansen decided not to wear a flotation device so the mock rescue would look more dramatic for the cameras. Police Chief Robert Johnston says there are too many unanswered questions here.
1, what happened? 2, why did it happen? In other words, what planning took place, etc., etc. Who was given what assignment? Did they do their assignment? Was there any negligence?
The guy was the hot dog. He didn't wear his safety thing. That was dumb.
And there was apparently another video camera rolling at the time. Sources tell Fox News that Hansen's brother, also a cop, was in a police helicopter recording the drill. At Hansen's wake, his mother reportedly wailed, "My son died for a movie," and then she collapsed. Hundreds of mourners paid their respects yesterday, filing past Hansen's open casket. A funeral mass will be said tomorrow at St. Columbia Roman Catholic Church in Brooklyn. A landmark FCC ruling should lower lots of cable TV bills around the country, but not here in New York. The FCC voted to allow local governments to regulate prices charged by cable systems. But cable systems facing competition from at least 6 over-the-air broadcast stations are exempt from price controls, and that leaves the Big Apple out along with most major cities. NASA says the Columbia astronauts have successfully closed the shuttle's payload doors, and they're ready to return to Earth. The crew's wake-up call this morning was a song by Louis Armstrong about our wonderful world. Yesterday, the astronauts had to play musical refrigerators. The shuttle's 2 fridges kept going on the fritz, endangering some of the medical research the astronauts did. The Columbia is expected to land in California shortly before noon, our time today. And now a look at what's ahead for today. Funeral services are to be held in Brooklyn for a 16-year-old boy who was shot to death by a stray bullet. The shot killed Ralph Rempel last week as he played basketball with friends. And today is Flag Day, so show your stars and stripes proudly. Around 11:45, Battery Park City is planning a Flag Day parade for children. Senator Ted Kennedy is in the news again, and not by choice. A newspaper in a Virginia county published a list of its top 50 parking ticket scofflaws, and 7 outstanding summonses landed Kennedy on that list. His office says the senator paid $310 to settle the outstanding tickets, calling the lapse an oversight. Tennis great Martina Navratilova has been hit with a lawsuit. You might call it a case of galimony. Her former live-in lover wants millions. Judy Nelson left her husband for Navratilova. The women had a relationship for 7 years. Word is they agreed to share all the money they made while they were together. But the love went out of the match, and Miss Navratilova now says the partnership is over. It could be a tough fight, though, for Martina because there's a record of the financial agreement.
This agreement to make y'all partners. Partners in everything. Partners if you lose, partners if you win.
Was hearing about the agreement for the first time as I was doing the video, and it seemed a lot more complicated than what I had drawn up myself, and said quite different things.
Miss Navratilova says the suit couldn't come at a worse time. She's now preparing for Wimbledon. A quick check of sports. The Yanks send Wade Taylor to the mound in Texas tonight, taking on the Rangers. Last night, the Twins proved why they're the best ball club in the majors. Minnesota stomped on the Yanks 10-3. And the Mets lost too. The Braves beat them at Shea 3-2. Tonight, the Mets host the Houston Astros with David Cohn pitching for Pete Harnisch. Finally, New Jersey has a state tree, the red oak, and a state bird, the eastern goldfinch, and now a state dinosaur. Governor Florio signed the legislation yesterday. The official prehistoric reptile of the Garden State is, here it comes, a Hadrosaurus. A nearly intact skeleton of the beast was dug up in 1858 in the town of Haddonfield. Hadrosaurus was an 8-ton duck-billed plant eater that roamed the earth about 70 million years ago. Remember him, Jim?
Vaguely. It's from the old days.
That's your brother, right?
No, my grandfather. All right, thank you, Lynn, very much. Let's see what's happening on the roads now. One last time. Here's Candy Roth.
Well, I'll tell you, we got a major problem right now, Jim, and it's on the east side. The southbound Harlem River Drive closed by the Triborough, and we'll check things out with the Good Day Chopper.
Candy, that southbound Harlem River Drive, forget it. It's bad. Going to get a lot worse, too. Multi-vehicle accident at 125th Street, jammed right now from 132nd Street as they clear away the vehicles. I'm Dave Holman of the Good Day Chopper.
All right, thank you very much, Dave. Again, that's southbound Harlem River Drive closed by the Triborough, a 6-car accident. Very serious delays, too, in New Jersey if you're traveling. Actually, let me tell you the George Washington Bridge first, since that's where we are, about a 15-minute delay. And in New Jersey, if you're traveling east on 78, you still have a 4-mile jam to exit 49. An accident there has been cleared. All lanes have been reopened, but it's a mess. Eastbound 24 is jamming to that 78 merge as well. Stay with the Express if you must take 78, but you're better off going with Route 22. Also, south on the Garden State Parkway, you're bumper to bumper from exit 151 down to the Essex Toll and all the way through to 149. Accident there in the left lane. You stay heavy down through 147. Also, if you're heading in at your Holland and Lincoln tunnels, 30 minutes. Alternate side of the street parking rules are in effect today. Have a great weekend. I'm Candy Roth. That's your Good Day. Way to go. Traffic update. Jim?
All right, Candy, thank you very much. A lovely one, huh?
Happy Flag Day. Good day for showing off your red, white, and blue. Right now in Central Park, 61 degrees and sunny skies. The humidity at 56%. Winds are out of the west-northwest at 12. And the barometer 30.11 and steady. The satellite picture showing nice clear skies for us. High pressure to thank for that. Some showers and thunderstorms back to the west, especially in through Minnesota. Here's what the temperatures are looking like at this hour. 64 out in the Hamptons, 64 in New Haven as well. 65 is the hot spot in both Philly and at LaGuardia. There's the map for today. That front is back to the west and to the south of us now. It'll be turning around and giving us perhaps some more humidity for tomorrow as it comes on through and temperatures climbing back up into the mid-80s. Your forecast for today, mostly sunny, warmer, high about 82. Tonight, mostly clear and not as cool, 65 for the low, a little bit sticky for the sleeping weather. And your pollen count is low. It's at 43 right now. 5-day forecast, partly sunny, warmer and more humid tomorrow up to 86. For Father's Day, partly sunny start to the day and then a chance of an afternoon thunder shower with a high of 88. Monday we get a front coming through and it looks like clouds and showers in store for us with a high of 89. Then cooling down just a tad for Monday and Tuesday. And happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Have a good weekend.
All right, Julie, thank you very much. Still ahead, actor Ray Sharkey.
Can't even get a little privacy here. I'm trying to talk to my father here. So how you doing? Sure had our problems, didn't we? No matter how you tried to hide it.
41 is the time. Kevin Costner has gone from dancing with wolves to fighting with swords. He plays the title role in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which opens today. Sherry Sylvester has the story.
I'm Robin of Locksley, and my men are thirsty.
Aye, that's right. Robin Hood!
What's in a name if the name is Robin Hood? Not much. Not a year ago, anyway. That's when, according to the LA Times, older men were the few moviegoers interested in seeing the swashbuckler return to the big screen. Then Kevin Costner's name was added to the marquee, changing the picture considerably. The actor, it seems, is even more popular than the legendary thief. Costner was determined not to disappoint, catapulting into a castle, running horseback, battling the bad guys, and yes, even risking his life.
There was a scene in a boat, which was not a stunt at all, which was like the closest I'd come to death, which is, it was the first day of shooting, and we're in the ocean in a small boat that we weren't supposed to be in, and it was the first time I'd had on the costume, and if I'd have fallen overboard, which was really a possibility, I would have died, because the clothes would immediately weighed 300-400 pounds because there was these two big cloaks.
But what scares an actor most may be the fear of making a movie that nobody sees. For that reason, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves was rushed before the cameras faster than anyone could say Sherwood Forest.
We were going really fast, and it seemed like there was no way to stop the train once it was going, and it kind of mowed everybody down as you were doing it. So some of the delicacies that go with making a movie weren't completely observed just because they couldn't be.
But you're a person who loses sleep in this town if things don't go right.
I think that people have a faith in movies. You know, it's a habit that, you know, that's America's favorite date. You know, it's what we do. We go to the movies. We're Americans. We go to the movies on Friday and Saturday nights. And the one thing we don't like to do is boo.
And one thing we rarely do is boo our heroes. Sherry Sylvester's New Orleans.
Actor Ray Sharkey is known as Hollywood's comeback kid, able to overcome the odds and succeed. He electrified audiences in his portrayal of mobster Sonny Steelgrave in the hit series Wise Guy. And starting this fall, he'll star in a new ABC sitcom, The Man in the Family. And we welcome Ray Sharkey to Good Day New York. Ray? It's, you know, reading about the new series, it said that this is very close to home for you. How come?
Well, it is in the sense of how it parallels my life. I was raised by women, from my mother to my grandmother to the nuns in school, and in this show, at least in the first 7 episodes, Sal is put in a situation where he is forced to learn life lessons from the women around him, his mother, his 2 sisters, his girlfriends, and I think in that respect it parallels.
This is a guy who, in the plot, he comes back from Vegas when his father dies, and comes back to Brooklyn.
I come from Brooklyn. As a matter of fact, where we shot the show is not too far from where I grew up, and I have a friend who still has a deli. His name is Vinny, and he allowed me. And Carroll Gardens, and when Vinny and I were kids, we went to school together, and his family had a grocery store, and they still have it. They still operate it, and those days are gone. They deliver. I mean, all of that great stuff that I needed to know about.
We have a clip from The Man in the Family. Let's take a look at it.
Great.
I bet you had a lot of boyfriends.
No.
Oh, I don't believe that. How can a beautiful, young, sweet girl like you not have a boyfriend?
It was easy. I was a nun.
Great take. I understand you and an old friend of mine are good buddies, David Diaz from Channel 4.
Oh, yeah, David's a great guy. I was in town a couple of years ago doing some research for Wired, and I asked a friend of mine, I said, I need somebody who can help me out. I got to get some lines on Puerto Rican lingo, and he said, well, call David Diaz. And I remembered David from a Visione show that he had on, and David was impressed that I had seen those, and he gave me this great word. I said, so David, what are they calling each other on the street these days? And only a New York journalist could come up with the information in less than 30 seconds. He said, well, blood's out. They're calling each other hemoglobin, and we came up with hemo for short. He's great.
All right, Ray, thanks very much. When does the series start now?
Wednesday, June 19th, 9:30, following Doogie Howser.
It's called The Man in the Family.
Yes,
Ray
sir.
Sharkey, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it. Still ahead, sax star Candy Dulfer. We'll see if Larry has improved any in a few minutes. But right now, Julie's back here, and she's got a guest for us.
Thanks, Jim. You always say that I always interview only the good-looking guys. Well, we've got a good-looking gal for you this morning. How's that? Make it fair. She's not only young and beautiful, but she's very talented as well. Her name is Candy Dulfer, and this saxophonist from Holland is climbing the charts now with her debut album, Candy Dulfer Saxuality. And Candy joins us today to tell us about herself and her relationship with the Purple One himself, Prince. Welcome to Good Day New York.
Hi.
Now, being in a field where it's mostly dominated by men, how hard was it for you to be taken seriously as a saxophonist?
Well, not very hard. I noticed that if you work hard and if you do your uttermost best, then a lot of guys will sort of take you on and let them play with you. And I was always very serious about what I was doing, so I didn't think that anybody would let me out. And I'm still, apart from all the attention I get, I'm still trying to be the best player there is and, try to develop myself, which is something I have to do.
You were on Prince's Graffiti Bridge album. How did you meet up with Prince and get that together?
I met him like 2 years ago and in Holland, and he asked me to play with him on stage, which was great, of course, because I'm a big fan of his music. And we had fun, and actually I didn't expect to hear from him again, but he started calling and he asked if I wanted to do some session work with him. And of course I agree, because it's a great musician. And I went to Minneapolis, stayed there for a couple of months, and worked for Graffiti Bridge and the Time album and some other stuff, which you never know where it will end up.
Does he interview, or does he have an influence on your career at all? How your music has changed?
I don't know. I don't think my own music really has changed because of meeting Prince. I do know that I'm sort of influenced by his music. I've listened to it from the moment, he got his first record out, so I'm really into that music. So probably there will be a sort of an influence in, I don't know, the way, we arrange or whatever. But it was not like that I've changed totally since I met the Purple One. I mean, it's just, it's great. You learn a lot of things when you sort of with him in the studio, but they're not obvious things like, like dressing up or whatever. It's just small things.
What about Dave Stewart from Eurythmics? He's on your new album with you. He's on the title release?
Well, that's not really true. In fact, 1.5 years ago, I did a tune with him which belonged to a soundtrack from a Dutch film that was Lily Was Here. That went really good in the Dutch charts and European charts. And after that, I make my own record. But for bringing it out in the States, we put it together. So a little was here's a bonus track on my CD. But anyway, it's
oh,
very
I
nice
see. So this was a project from a long time ago that just wound up on this debut album.
Yeah.
How do you compare your music to some of the people that are popular saxophonists now, like David Sanborn or Kenny G?
I don't know. I mean, I'm big fans of both, and I mean, David Sanborn is my hero. I try not to copy them, which is hard because when you start out playing, you know, you always sort of, you know, listen to a lot of different saxophone players. But I don't know. I think in ways of crossover, we're probably, you know, a bit in the same league. But I sort of play more pop music. And in a different way anyway.
All right, Candy Dulfer, best of luck with your new album, and come back and see us again, will you?
Thank you.
Thanks. Jim?
All right, ladies, thank you very much. Larry Hoff is still out in Central Park this morning. Let's see how he's progressing with rollerblading.
Well, James, right now what I'm going to do is introduce the team Rollerblade. You've been watching them all morning long performing for us.
Andrew Walton, Laguna Beach, California.
California guests are all from California.
Jane Moody, Venice Beach, California.
Eric Wiley, Sunset Beach, California.
Matt Terry, Westwood.
Bruce Ashton Jackson, South Central Los Angeles.
There you go. And it was a subtle move, but if you notice, James, I skated the whole way during that introduction.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be appearing tonight at Flushing Meadows for a workshop starting what time, Bruce?
It's going to start at 6 o'clock. The team's going to be performing for our race clinic that we're performing tomorrow morning.
Now, tomorrow morning also at Flushing Park, what's going to happen?
We're going to have our Rollerblade race series. What we do is do this whole tour. We go to about 12 states, and Rollerblade, being the company name, put on an inline skate race. And we have about 200, 350 people out there, and we just put them on skates and do a 10K race. And the team performs. They're going to be looking really hot.
Okay, all skaters invited to that event tomorrow at Flushing Meadows. And if you want any information on rollerblades, call 1-800-232-ROLL. There you go. Okay, I'll tell you what. Finish up here, you guys, if you would. We'll just give you a few minutes. Strut your stuff.
Let's start our stuff, dude.
Okay.
Easy.
Off I go. James, you take it.
Larry, just want to remind you that you've been skating since this program went on the air. All right. They make it look nice and easy, but as we've been telling you in the program, you heard the doctor earlier this morning, rollerblading can be very, very dangerous. So we have a case in point. Our own audio technician here on Good Day New York, Rob Alexander, spent some time in the hospital because of a rollerblading accident. He's on the phone right now. Rob, can you hear me?
Yes, Jim.
Rob, tell us about what happened to you.
Well, last Wednesday, a week and a half ago, Jim Cassell, our trusty Chiron engineer, and myself went over to the park after work, rented skates at a skate shop near the station, and skated over to the park.
And you could not rent a helmet at that same spot, is that correct?
No, that's right. We did ask. Jimmy had a helmet that he owned, but I tried to rent one. They didn't rent them. But I did have wrist guards on. And what happened was, anyway, we went into the park. I was actually skating pretty well because, unlike Larry, I've got a lot of experience on ice skates. Thanks to that Chiron, James. I played hockey for 10 years, and I really picked up rollerblading very quickly. I was a little reluctant at first, but I picked it up very quickly. And my accident was really kind of a freak thing. It wasn't so much from a lack of experience. What happened was, in the park, I went down very hard and very quickly. I was knocked out. And when Jimmy took my skates off and I was lying semi-conscious in the park, he told me that there was a twig jammed in the wheels. So that explains how I came to such an abrupt stop. I didn't have time to break my fall. I don't actually remember going down at all. I was knocked out. I had a concussion. I ended up at Lenox Hill Hospital. Got 32 stitches above my eye.
Now, was it your glasses that...
Yeah, well, my sunglasses smashed into my face. And I got scraped up pretty good, too.
How soon will it be before you try rollerblading again?
Well, I'll tell you something. I would do it again. I certainly would, but I would wear a helmet. No question about it. I mean, you got to take all the safety precautions.
All right, Rob. Thanks very much. Get well soon, and
Thank you,
come back and join us.
Thank you. I'll be back on Monday. Thanks a lot.
Terrific. Okay. Thanks, Rob. We'll take a short break and be back and wrap things up, and Julie will be here with the Out the Door cast.